Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerdcore podcast. The podcast reviews movies and talks about nerd shit. This is episode 732, and it is your review of David Cronenberg's Crash. As always, it is the Nerds You Gonna Hear the host show. I'm our wonderful co-host, Brad Yoda.
What's up, everybody? Wonderful Thursday night.
Thursday night, live, early, and ad-free over on patreon.com/thenerdcore, where you can get this episode for $1 a month. You get episodes like this one hours, days early before it drops for everybody on 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, Central Daylight Time, Central Standard Time, Central Time in general on Saturday. And yeah, man, Brad, I've been streaming for a while today, so my mind is all over the place right now. But before we can go ahead and get into review, Brad, how are you doing today?
I am alive. I woke up a little bit under the weather. I'm still a bit under the weather. We'll see what this turns into. I'm hoping it's just dead cold.
That sucks, man. I'm really sorry to hear that. So that's why you were watching movies today?
Well, I had a class today.
Oh man.
And so I had to go to that. And then I figured afterwards I'd watch movies. So
yeah.
But I got through the first episode of Star Wars Goonies.
I still haven't watched that.
I thought it was all right. I mean, I don't know if it's like the greatest thing ever, but it's fun. That one's fun.
Yeah.
I did watch the first episode of Creature Commandos.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
I watched is it Robot and Dog or Dog and Robot? I forget.
Robot Dreams?
Is that one?
God, that fucking movie hits hard, bro.
Yeah, Robot Dreams. So I watched Robot Dreams. And then right before this, why we're a little bit late, is I needed time to finish Challengers.
Oh shit, really? You were watching Challengers?
I was watching Challengers, yes.
Yeah. It's that time, guys. It's catch up time, and Brad is definitely catching up, right?
Yep. Had to practice the backhand.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm glad that you reminded me about Robot Dreams because I'd seen that this year. And I thought that it was a fucking 2023, but it was released here in the United States on fucking what's it called in June.
See, and that's what I was wondering because it's available on Hulu to watch.
Yeah.
And Hulu calls it 2023, and I'm like, I could have sworn this was a 2024 movie.
Yeah. Which honestly, man, it kind of does put in some in the what's it called? Does change up the ranking a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's a damn good movie, man. I'm glad glad that you finally got to that.
I will say I think Dune Part 2 is still top
high
for
up
me
there
right now.
Still high up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey man, it's a damn great movie too. Brad, so you want to tell them what was your predicament with this film before we actually go into the review?
I watched the other Crash movie first. I think it's 2004's Crash.
Yep.
Which I didn't hate, but at the same time I wasn't like understanding why Raul was so high on this. And then I realized because about halfway, 2/3 the way through the movie, I was reading on the movie and I looked at the director and I'm going, well, that's not Cronenberg.
That's Cronenberg.
That could explain why this doesn't feel like a Cronenberg movie at all. But I gotta watch Luda.
Yeah, you sure fucking did. But so thankfully, you didn't tell me this like the day of or the day before.
Yeah,
you told me this like days before, and I was like, okay, Brad, you watched the wrong film. Like,
yeah, I watched it like 2 days ago, and then I was like, oh shit. So I had yesterday to watch it too. So no biggie. No big deal. No having to change anything. I have watched the correct movie.
I wasn't going to change shit, man. I'm not watching that. Yeah. So man, December, of course, is a month that I always look forward to when we do this podcast. And if I had won the coin toss, I had specifically thought of selecting 2 films for us to finally scratch off the list that I wanted Brad to watch for this end of the month, for the end of the year. And I was going to select this one, and I was going to select Come and See. I did not win the coin toss, as you can tell. Brad won the coin toss. But now, I at least wanted to go with one film, and I was like, you know what, man? Let's go. Come and See can wait. I want to do Crash. And
also, I just had to throw out there, shout out to everyone watching the Collateral review.
Oh yeah, man.
That's got high numbers for whatever reason.
I don't understand y'all. I don't, but I appreciate y'all and I love y'all. Yeah. But I have to tell you, Brad. What's it called? I was so excited, Brad, but I didn't post your address online.
Okay.
But no, don't worry. I even scratched it out when I said to my friend to tell him, like, look what I got. But Brad, I love this movie so much that I sadly, missed out on the chance to get Arrow's 4K release of this film.
Mm-hmm.
That I've always wanted. I've always wanted the limited edition because it's my favorite Cronenberg, bro. It's my favorite Cronenberg. Like I can't not have it. Like there's no way I can't not have it. Never got to it. Either was above $90 which are fucking high if you think I'm gonna pay for that when it originally was like $60.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive.
Even then, Brad did the nice thing of getting me a Christmas present, and he got me this movie. It's unopened. I mean, it's opened, but everything's fine. Everything looks good. I'll have Brad confirm that for me when he gets it.
Yeah, when I get it, I'll make sure it's like you hopefully
no
UPS
scratches on the disc.
Yeah,
no
hopefully UPS doesn't like punt the goddamn thing.
Yeah, yeah. But thank you, Brad. You got me one of my last white whales. The only other one that I want is the steel book of Black Panther 2 with Namor and all that. But this movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. Is my favorite Cronenberg, and I finally got that fucking release.
Well, you are very welcome, my friend.
Yeah,
just deserved for dealing with me for what we're going on 8 years now. So
yeah.
I'm glad I'm able to do that. So I'm
Yeah.
able in the position I can do that for my friends. So
yeah.
As always, thank you for being the host. Keep bringing me on for whatever goddamn reason. And I did find a little solace because I sent to you, looks like it's sold out.
Yeah, I was like, fuck. Because then I was gonna say, oh, it's fine. Like I'll just wait for this other one because there was a guy from the fucking UK selling it. It was gonna end up being like $60-something, so less than what we would have probably paid for. But sadly, it wasn't gonna be shipped in the US. It was gonna be shipped in fucking UK. But it's fine. It was like you got it, and I was like, oh man, I was like, fucking crazy, man. I've wanted that film for so long. Criterion has it on Blu-ray, which what's it called? Like I want to get it on Blu-ray because this one only comes with the 4K, and it has special features that are not on this one. But this one has so much stuff. Like it has like all these other short films that Cronenberg made in like 2013 and 2014. It's got some Ballard short films, and I was like, oh man, like I like this thing has got way more. So now when I pick up the Blu-ray from Criterion, I'll have a definitive, like massive version of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But with that said, Brad watched the wrong film. Yeah. Brad watched the wrong film.
I caught up. It's fine. It's not the first time I've watched the wrong film. In fact, I think it's the second time.
Yeah. You would think it wouldn't happen after the first time.
It's fine.
But with that said, if you guys have not watched Crash, you should probably get out of here if you care about spoilers. But if you don't care about spoilers, or you've already seen the film, go ahead and stay. Either way, this is your one warning, and it is in effect after these words from our sponsors in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Today's episode of the Nerd Court is brought to you by SeatGeek. Whether you want to see your favorite band, sports team, or comedian, SeatGeek has you covered. We're proud to be partnering with SeatGeek to offer you $10 off your first order with code TheNerdCourt. That's $10 off your first order at SeatGeek.com with code THENERDCORPS. So take a seat at your next live event with SeatGeek. Thank you. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, Brad. Let's go ahead and introduce him to Crash. Crash is a 1996 Canadian erotic thriller film written, produced, and directed by David Cronenberg, based on J.G. Ballard's 1973 novel of the same name, which I own. This is Brad. This is the one book I read this year.
Yeah.
I'll have a lot to say about this book when we finish.
This movie means a lot to Raul when he reads the book it's based on.
I read the whole book. Like,
I mean,
it's not that big of a book.
No, it's not bad. That's not as bad as Shogun.
No.
But I would figure the book gives a little bit more context than the film. But the film apparently does pretty well for the source material.
It's incredibly faithful, but there's still a lot like in the book. We'll go into it. Starring James Spader, Deborah Kara Unger, Elias Koteas, Holly Hunter, and Rosanna Arquette. It follows a film producer who, after surviving a car crash, becomes involved with a group of symphophiliacs, symphophiliacs, which basically are a paraphilia involving sexual arousal from staging and watching disasters such as traffic collisions.
See, and okay, so that explains a little more to me. I didn't know if it was the car crash or if it was the scarring, or is it all kind of intertwined?
Both.
Together?
It's intertwined. Whereas by car crashes and tries to rekindle his sexual relationship with his wife. The film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, where it received the Special Jury Prize, a unique award that is distinct from the jury prize as it is not given annually, but only at the request of the official jury. For example, the previous year, both a jury prize and a special jury prize were awarded when then jury president Francis Ford Coppola announced the award originally for daring, for audacity. He said there had been a controversial choice that certain jury members did abstain very passionately. It continued to receive various accolades including 6 Genie Awards. Yeah. Thanks. Well, you know what? That makes sense. I was going to say that's crazy that Francis Ford Coppola was going to give it, but I was like, no, you know what, bro? That does not make sense.
Nah, I mean, Coppola.
Coppola made a pornographic film.
Yeah,
directed a pornographic film. So, which I'm not labeling this as pornography. This is not pornography. But I'm saying that, like,
there is no penetration scene.
No.
Say it.
A lot of it is implied.
I mean, maybe softcore, but even
no,
may not even that close.
Yeah. All right. The film's initial release was met with intense controversy and open to highly divergent reactions from critics. Some praised the film for its daring premise and originality. Others aimed criticism for having such a strange premise filled with graphic violence. It has since developed a cult following and is now considered to be one of Cronenberg's best films. Of course, this cinematography is done by Peter Suschitzky, which I believe Rocky Horror Picture Show and The Empire Strikes Back, Brad.
Oh wow,
same guy.
That's a fucking. That's quite a record.
Yeah. Yep. Music is done by Howard Shore. It's edited by Ronald Sanders. You know Howard Shore. He is the one who The Lord of the Rings, Brad.
Okay, Howard Shore is kind of interesting. I wouldn't have figured him on this film, but then
he's worked with Cronenberg multiple times.
That's true.
Yeah. And it sits at 1 hour and 40 minutes. I believe the cut that we watched, which is the NC-17 cut, was 1 hour and 41 or 44.
And you know what we call that, right? Cronenberg time.
Cronenberg time, yep. Actually, Brad, it's still 1 hour and 40 minutes. I guess it's just like they didn't cut off the parts and stuff like that.
They didn't block it a certain way.
Yeah. But man.
Box office $23.2 million.
2 million, Brad. 23.2 million. I don't know budget,
decent.
but
I don't know budget, but it's decent.
Yeah. Man. The film was controversial. So I want to read some of these controversies here. The film was controversial, as was the book, because of its vivid depictions of graphic sexual acts instigated by violence. There is more in this. If you think this movie is graphic, read this. There is a lot in this that is way worse. Way fucking worse. At the Cannes Film Festival, a screening provoked boos and angry bolts by upset viewers, but that's normal. In a 2020 interview, Cronenberg stated that he believed Francis Ford Coppola, the jury president at the 1996 Cannes Film Festival, was so vehemently opposed to Crash that other jury members in favor of the film banded together to present Cronenberg with a rare special jury prize. So great was Coppola's distaste for the film that, according to Cronenberg, Coppola refused to personally present the award to the director. Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Never mind. I guess Coppola
Never mind. Yeah, I guess he didn't like it.
Jesus.
The controversial subject matter prompted the Daily Mail and the Evening Standard to orchestrate an aggressive campaign to ban Crash in the United Kingdom. In response to this outcry, the British Board of Film Classification inquired with a Queen's Counsel and a psychologist, none of whom found any justification to ban it, and 11 disabled people who saw no offense with its portrayal of the physically challenged. Seeing no evidence for a ban, Crash was passed by the BBFC, uncut with an 18 rating in March 1997, the month I was born, Brad, the month and year I was born. Clive Barker stated that the importance of family values and morality during the 1997 general election fueled the controversy due to local authorities in Cardiff, Kirkcaldy, North Lancashire, Walsall, and Westminster banning the film. A theater manager in Oslo, Norway, banned the film at her location. She denied it was related to a traffic accident that left her husband paralyzed. Oh my God. Media mogul Ted Turner, whose company oversaw U.S. distribution Fine Line Features, refused to release the film in the United States, going as far to pull it from an October 1996 release date intended to coincide with the Canadian rollout. Cronenberg would later confirm that a Fine Line executive shared the rumor that Turner's distaste for the movie was the reason for its delay. He said Turner was morally offended and concerned about copycat incidents. The film eventually received a U.S. release in spring 1997.
Let's be real here. Ted Turner's probably done worse to people in life.
100%. AMC, I got 3 more paragraphs, Brad. AMC Entertainment Incorporated, the second largest U.S. theater chain at the time, said it was posting security guards outside about 30 screens showing the movie to ensure minors did not get inside. At AMC's Century City location in Los Angeles, 2 security guards were present, one inside the auditorium and one outside.
Yeah, hey, this was before the internet. I'm just saying.
God, I fucking wish I was I was alive during this time. I was alive to watch this film at this time. The film was still banned by Westminster Council, meaning it could not be shown in any cinema in the West End, even though they had earlier given special permission to the film's premiere, and it was easily seen in nearby Camden. An academic study of the controversy and audience responses to it, written by Martin Barker, Jane Arthurs, and Ramaswamy Harindranath, was published by Wallflower Press in 2001, entitled "The Crash Controversy: Censorship Campaigns and Film Reception." Man, Brad, that's a lot. That's a lot. But
and you know what, Ro? Probably all those people who hated this movie never watched a minute of it.
Yeah, but all y'all can suck my dick, because on At the Movies with Roger Ebert, director Martin Scorsese ranked Crash as the 8th best film of the decade.
Well, y'all can suck my dick. Ebert even gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars.
Almost perfect score, bro. Yeah. He said, wow. Of the adaptation, author J.G. Ballard reportedly said the movie is actually better than the book. It goes further than the book and is much more powerful and dynamic. It's terrific. He promoted Cronenberg's work in his native country. And that's it. That's all I'm going to read. I just wanted to get that stuff out of the way because it's fucking nuts. And I know this is going to be a longer review than we usually do, but it's nuts.
Because I mean, I'd like to be reminded of like these films that people like just go completely against, because it reminds me of
Last Temptation of Christ.
Well, that, and then like Dogma, Kevin Smith's Dogma, which is always fun because they have video footage of him in the crowds who are chanting and going against the film, and he's just standing there with them, and they interview him. He's like, I don't know about this fucking film.
what people get their fucking panties in a bunch over.
And they don't even watch the movie.
Yeah. But Brad, I'm gonna go ahead and go to you first. I've seen this movie before. Brad, what are your initial thoughts on Crash?
I think it's a very interesting film, and I say that as a positive. It's not my cup of tea in films, which Raul knows, but I understand what was being made here. And I know it goes a little deeper than just the fetishization of, people with scars and the sexualization of people with scars. There's just what Cronenberg does here is to definitely really get a reaction, I would say, which is most Cronenberg films. But I think he does it very well, like visually and stylistically and music. It's a very good film. I don't necessarily overly enjoy seeing like the scarring and all that. Not my cup of tea, but I understand how somebody could. I understand this is a good film. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I love this movie a lot. I first discovered this movie when I heard about the Arrow release. And I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Like, what's Crash? Because I looked at the release, I was like, wow, this looks like a cool ass fucking artwork.
You wouldn't know this movie because they banned it everywhere.
Yeah. So, but at that time, we already had discussed Cronenberg before, and we had been watching some Cronenberg. So I was like, you know what? I was living with my cousin because I had just came back from Chicago. I threw it on, Brad. Thankfully, nobody walked in on the on me watching this fucking movie.
My wife showed up. I had about 45, 30 minutes left. So
was it when James Spader was getting dick down, or
no? She might have been there for that, but that wasn't the one. I think it was the car wash.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my God. But yeah,
the car wash, and it might have been before that at the crash scene, and I'm just sitting there going, "There's no way, like this would never happen in real life, where you just drive through the crash scene, you stop your vehicle on the highway next to a crash scene, and you're just allowed to go through there and take photos."
Yeah.
I mean, it would never happen, but it's a cool visual he has.
Yeah. But I had gone to this film and I was just blown the fucking away. I instantly, even though I, didn't give it a high score in the beginning, I still knew like right off the bat, this is my favorite Cronenberg. This is my favorite Cronenberg. And it had been stuck in my head for so long, Brad. And I bought the book. I didn't buy the book. I'm sorry. I checked the book out from the library, and I read it, and I kept going through it. And I'll tell you this: it is very, very graphic. There's a lot that goes on with the wife and Vaughn in this.
That was going to be not Vaughn, but the wife and the husband.
Yeah.
That was going to be my question. This because I think bare bones of it without everything else. It's really about a husband trying to reconnect with his wife.
Pretty much. And the thing is that, what's it called? James in this, it's when he has the car crash, and you don't see a lot of it in this movie, which I'm glad. I would agree with Ballard. I think the movie is better than the book. I think the movie presents a lot of the ideas that Ballard is trying to say with this book better. But Brad, in the book, there is like multiple times where James is just hallucinating, and he's imagining the nurse having sex with his wife and penetrating her and like doing all these things that he feels like he just can't do, and he feels so much guilt to not being able to do that to her because of like his injuries.
And see, I never got the hallucination feel.
No, yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah. That's why like this is really good. This is really good. It goes into so much more that Cronenberg kind of leaves out, because Cronenberg concentrates more on the relationship between technology and sexuality.
Mhm.
And like I love this movie's like the score, Brad, from Howard Shore is amazing. It is so
It's
fucking
very good.
90s, Brad.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is so
it's
90s.
excellent for the film.
Yeah.
And I just like I like this movie just because it's different.
Yeah.
Because you go from you start off in a scene where you have these two watching a recreation, an illegal recreation of a James Dean
Yeah.
crash. Then the cops come, and then that becomes kind of a they're so turned on that becomes sexual. It's a very interesting film to watch from from someone who doesn't have that fetishization of the car crash or that
Yeah.
it's like you're watching someone behind glass,
Yeah.
really.
The scene where Vaughn crashes though,
Lands on the bus.
just as brutal in the book as it is in the movie.
Okay.
But something that like I think the book does that the movie doesn't, in which I would love for somebody or Brad to do a cinema condition on this at one point, um, is that the book really goes into not just Vaughn's fascination with that crash, but overall his fascination with James Dean and like what that meant when he crashed.
Yeah.
And he had like what that meant to the artist and the man.
Well,
Um,
and it's like in a lot of celebrity deaths, it makes them, more famous than they were, and
yeah,
it makes them infinitely into the zeitgeist.
yeah. But man, I love the score, Brad. Framing wise, I love the cinematography. The lighting is really good. He goes a very Cronenberg does a very natural approach, but it's still very moody. It works really well. Um, dude, the final scene with all that fog, just fucking incredible. I love the way that he frames that.
My wife did find it interesting how the film ended, and she's like, if that was me, I would be telling you to get the fuck off me, because we just crashed the fucking car.
but
And
but you guys aren't
yeah,
fetishists.
and it's not it wouldn't be a film either,
Yeah.
because in real life there'd be a shit ton of cars stopped. People would be out looking at them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Cronenberg would have zoomed out a little bit more, you would have had people up there looking. But
Yeah.
it's like they were kind of invisible,
Yeah.
throughout this film with the sexual nature.
Yeah, well, I think that's the whole point, right? Because it's like it's kind of Cronenberg saying that like James doesn't care about everybody else. He wants his like because he has sex with her, but you hear when she says like what's it called she's like, oh, are you hurt? Like, no, I think I'm okay. And he goes and he goes, we can
Next
the
time.
next one.
The next
It's
one.
like the next
Well,
time
And
you'll
I
die.
found it interesting throughout the film. His wife, until that moment with Vaughn, she didn't have a scar on her.
Mm-mm.
She didn't have a bruise on her. Like throughout the film until after meeting Vaughn.
Yeah. But this movie, man, this movie's also very pro disability. I'm glad that that person who was like, oh, it doesn't offend me as somebody who's disabled. I think this movie does a lot more for the disabled than you think. I think it like shows them having sex and shows that like disabled people can
disabled
actually
people.
feel pleasure
Yeah, like
and they're real people who have real sexual desires.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this movie's fucking steamy as shit, Brad.
I mean, it's intense for sure.
It's very intense. Um, I the second time watching it, man, I'm fucking blown away again. And it's especially like Holly Hunter, bro. Holy shit, Holly Hunter is great in this, and she's like, I
Yeah,
have not seen Holly Hunter like this before.
Well, and the look of her, just the look, the vibe she gives off as like a very serious doctor. You wouldn't think
Yeah.
that she would be that overly sexual.
No,
And she plays that role very well of being like surprising me of like, oh no, she might look and act timid outside, but on the inside, she's like raging with sexuality.
yeah, man. And it goes in a lot, and I know this isn't the podcast for this, but it goes into a lot in like where technology does, where it's like technology doesn't replace sex because sex is always something that humans will crave and it's something that humans desire. I know some of y'all will be like, oh, not everybody, there's asexual people and stuff. It's like, but you know what I mean? Since the dawn of man, sex has been a very, you know, constant thing. It's the way we reproduce, the way we've created life. And
it's the way we have pleasure.
Yeah. And once technology, progresses with sex, it's going to intersect there. And that's where you find these people who they're very drawn to the act of not just the crash, but also the arousal that comes from it. Brought to you by Ford. When you need to drive stick, and that actually could be a euphemism.
Nope, Ford too.
That's a good one, Stacey. That was a really good one. Yeah. But yeah, Brad. I think this time the movie flowed better for me. I was, I think this time I wasn't really looking for the shock.
Mm-hmm.
This time since I had read the book, I was more like, okay, let me look at what thematically Cronenberg brings to the table that Ballard doesn't. And I think that, Cronenberg really does think about not just the body, but the way that the body interacts with, technology. And just, I love, I know I know it's not your thing, but to me, I think it's probably some of the greatest shit when they start kissing the scars, or when he fucking starts to fuck the scar. It's like, holy shit, man. I think that's so fucking genius. But I think it's a great movie, Brad. Thank you once again for the fucking 4K. I can't wait for that to get here.
And the Baby Yoda Funko that's
the Baby Yoda, yeah.
That's been like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but it's just, this movie's incredible, man. Brad, do you have any final thoughts before we go into the final verdict?
Again, I'll put it out there. I mean, this is, again, not my cup of tea, but I can respect the movie. I can respect the art that was shown on screen.
Yeah.
And it is a good movie. I mean, it's how I felt with Morris Perros. It's how I felt. I forget what it was a few movies ago where we watched it. How I felt with is it it makes me squirm a little and it makes me a little queasy. But that means the movie's doing something.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm just, and it's so hard for you to find movies that really do, because and I'm of that camp. I don't care if the movie adapts the book correctly.
Or perfectly.
It's just, I don't give a shit about that. I mean, I'll always go to the Stalker. What's it called? Example. Stalker has absolutely no fucking adaptation of Roadside Picnic at all. It's not. It adapts the idea of Roadside Picnic. And I still think that movie is amazing. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. And here is a complete opposite, where Cronenberg adapts this book very accurately, leaves some stuff out, but it accurately depicts the idea and the execution of the book. And I mean, like Brad said, for a movie to get me to read the book, you gotta think this movie is something. Good. It's something. So yeah, this gets a 10 out of 10 for me, Brad. Brad, what's your final verdict?
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
All right.
I think it's good. Again, it's not my overall genre, but it's a good movie.
What would you give 2004?
Definitely not an 8 out of 10. I mean, I'm not gonna hate on the two. It's nothing to do with this movie, that's for sure. It's not a recreation of this movie. I don't know. I don't know what I give 2004. Maybe a 6, if that. It just, I mean, I was entertained by 2004, but this one it's more of an interesting film. The 2004 Crash, I mean, it's kind of a fun watch in certain scenes here and there, but overall, it's not an interesting film.
Yeah. And I will tell you though, Brad, the ending of the book, it's not the film. Okay. The film is a different ending. So
I'm guessing they die. That would be my.
I mean, I think you should read this book, Brad.
Okay.
I think you should read this book. This book's really fucking good. Ken, Joe Raul to read again. Turn the pages one hand at a time. Yep. Yeah, man. Maybe Brad will choose this for a cinema condition. I don't know. I think that it would be really interesting. I would have to reread this book if it came to that, because there's a lot that I would want to bring up. But this is a great movie, man. It's easily my favorite Cronenberg. Brad, where does this land with your Cronenbergs, though, before we get out of here?
I'd have to pull up a list of Cronenbergs.
Yeah, because we've done a lot. I mean, like compared to Crimes of the Future, I mean, like fucking
So
Videodrome,
we've done The Fly, Dead Zone,
Scanners.
Eastern Promises, History Violence. We did Videodrome.
Where's my
We did The
Cronenberg?
Brood. It is much better than The Brood.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Crimes of the Future.
I do want to give him my ranking for Cronenberg after this because this is the last Cronenberg before we end the year. So I'm looking for it here. Yeah.
Where would I rank this? I think I still like Eastern Promises more.
Yeah.
Just because I really do enjoy that movie. I think it might be right there with The Fly, in a way, just because that body horror is like, it kind of reminds me of that body horror.
Oh, but remember, Brad, A History of Violence and
History of Violence was really good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where I ranked that. That one was pretty decent. I think I do rank it higher than Videodrome. I didn't. Videodrome wasn't my favorite. It's definitely higher than The Brood.
Yeah.
I think I would rank it higher than Crimes of the Future.
Yeah.
It's definitely higher than Scanners. I'd probably say it's probably.
I know the Cosmopolis is right down there with The Brood, bro.
Yeah, I just throw that down there. I'd say it's probably ranked 3 or 4.
Okay.
I just have to go and try and piece back, where would I put it with regards, because I still think Eastern Promises is still my favorite.
Yeah.
But where do I put it in regards to like The Fly and The History of Violence? So it's fighting with those two.
Yeah. So to me, this is the way it ranks for me. At number 10, I have Cosmopolis. At number 9, I have The Brood. 8 is A History of Violence. 7 is Crimes of the Future 2022, not the original short film. Number 6 is Scanners. 5 is The Fly. 4 is one that we haven't watched, Brad, is that you haven't watched, called Existence. Which what? Oh shit! It's not as bad as this one, as like when it comes to like the graphicness, but it's something. 3 is Videodrome. 2 is Eastern Promises, and number 1 is Crash.
I mean, but like, I really do enjoy Cronenberg's body horror.
The only one I just didn't like was Cosmopolis. Honestly, that's it. Because the only Cronenberg I don't like. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll have more time to talk more Cronenberg.
I mean, I wasn't a big fan of The Brood though. The Brood was like,
I think The Brood is fine. I still kind of enjoy it though. At least the effects and stuff like that.
But when I got like Eastern Promises, History of Violence, The Fly, this one, it's just like me.
Yeah. But I wanted to get to Existence because Existence has Jennifer Jason Leigh in it, which a young Jennifer Jason Leigh especially, which she's always looked great, young or old. She's amazing. I was like, wow, I had never seen anything with young Jennifer Jason Leigh before. But with that said, that concludes our review of Crash. As always, thank you guys so much for joining us here at the Nerdcore Podcast. Follow us at thenerdcore.com, Twitter at the Nerdcore, Instagram at the Nerdcore, Letterboxd at the Nerdcore, TikTok at the Nerdcore, Patreon.com/thenerdcore. At the $1 tier, you get this episode live early and ad-free before anybody else gets to watch it on Saturday at 12 p.m. Central Time. And you get to chat with us just like Stacy did with these comments. And of course, join our Discord link in the description below. We can discuss this movie. You can discuss why you don't like it or you like it. And you can discuss if you seen it before. In the YouTube comments below, make sure that you leave a comment. Tell us what you think about this film. What do you think about a review? And have you read the book? What do you think about the book compared to the movie? Leave a like on the video. Click subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so you don't miss another review that drops on the channel. Leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app of choice and follow us on that app as well. All that helps us out so much, and it keeps getting us to more eyes and being able to get new fans of the show. And of course, we want to thank our wonderful Patreon supporters, because without any of you guys, I would not be able to fucking do this show and talk about this film with Brad. Because it's not possible, man. We love you guys so much. We want to thank especially our executive producer Shane, Brad, executively. How can you tell them, let them know where they can find them?
Yes, sir. You can follow our friend Shane at twitch.tv/XSRK or on Twitter at thrifted.il, or go buy something from the Suppy God at depop.com/Prison City Vintage.
Yeah. I'm going to show you something I'm going to show you something off what's it called, stream, but about this film. But I just wanted to bring it up because it's hilarious. Like, who the fuck made that cover for the DVD? But with that said, that concludes our review and our episode. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll be back for more reviews this weekend. We've got Skeleton Crew, Creatures Commando, and Doom Prophecy. I'll also be live for the final High Flyer Radio match of the year, forever, or maybe until for a while. Who knows? But it's the last one, Saturday night's main event on Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing that. It's gonna be a special one, guys. Come and sign off. Let's go and sign off High Flyer Radio in fashion. And with that said, Brad, let's go ahead and send them out of here.
All right, Raul. Thank you, being host as always. Thank you to Stacy for once again joining us in chat. Thank you to our listeners out there, our Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. And to end this episode, I think it's only right to say the few lyrics that I know of a Dave Matthews Band song of "Crash Into Me." Young Yoda out.